Before we jump into this episode, I want to remind you that while Caitlin and Sophia are dietitians, we're not your dietitians. This means the information shared in the Food Freedom Fertility podcast is intended to entertain, educate, and inform. It is not a substitute for medical care. This information is not intended to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor before making any changes.
Welcome to another episode of the Food Freedom Fertility podcast. We are your hosts, Caitlin Johnson, registered dietitian nutritionist specializing in women's fertility and getting pregnant with PCOS, and me, Sophia Pavia, also a registered dietitian specializing in women's fertility. But my specialty is helping you make enough progesterone so that you can get pregnant, stay pregnant, and bring home your healthy baby. And we are happy to have you here today. We are doing an episode just the two of us. We've had like so many experts and stuff on the past few episodes. It feels very cozy to have it just you and I today.
Oh, I love that word for today. We're supposed to get 12 inches of snow in the next 40 hours. So cozy is the vibe over here. What clothing is going to feel cozy? What drink in my mug is going to feel cozy? Ooh. How will we remain cozy? What soupy things am I going to make? So I love that. It is cozy.
When you hear soup, I hear people complain about soup. They're like, "Oh, soup isn't a meal." Like, you've never had one of Caitlin's soups.
I make really good soup.
She does. Really, it's not like if you think about this brothy thing where maybe you scoop your spoon and there's a bean on it and some broth. That is not what Caitlin is bringing to the table at all. No. And now that she gets into sourdough, what is served alongside the soup, get out.
Oh, man, seriously, we have to talk sourdough. I am not getting the crumb I want.
Okay. Well, I can help you with that. Why don't you show me? Okay, show me pictures of your crumb.
Okay. It's so crummy. It's not crummy enough.
Send me a picture.
Get foxy with it.
Yeah. We were supposed to have a guy on our show whose last name is Fox. And we were hoping to have him on. God bless him. He's a surgeon, and the life of a surgeon right now in America is so rough. So we appreciate him and are sorry that he's not on today. But you get the two of us instead. But there might be some Fox jokes today because I have a lot lined up for this guy.
No silver foxes in the room right now.
No, he basically told us we could go fox ourselves and that he would not be showing up for this episode today. I'm sure say? He's getting butt foxed at work right now, and he's not. I'm sure he'd love to be on this podcast with us, but some mother foxer messed up his calendar and now he doesn't get to be here with us. He's
down in the foxhole.
He's in the
doing surgery in the trenches.
He's in some kind of hole because he's a fibroid surgeon.
All right, guys.
I really hope he comes on and it's the next episode we air, because this would be just such a hilarious lead up. But there might be even more fox puns today. But we're talking about something different today. Something that I get asked about a lot, and for good reason. So today's episode, we're calling it Doing It Scared, Trying to Conceive in Pregnancy After Loss or After Trauma, because it can be really heavy to step back into, okay, I'm going to actually start putting some effort back into this, because what if my efforts don't work, or another trauma, or this or that? It's you have to sort of go back to the scene of the crime to revisit everything. And it can be so painful after loss, but it's also laced with hope. I'm going to move my camera angle for those of us that are on YouTube right now to show my big old belly.
Beautiful because belly.
I am pregnant after a traumatic loss at this very moment. But I see this not just pregnant after traumatic loss. I see this as so in the military community, when men or women, I suppose, deploy, and there's going to be 6 to 8 months where you are separated from your partner, you are automatically taking a break and trying to conceive, whether you want to or not, truthfully. That break happens. And so when your partner's getting ready to come back from deployment, I see a lot of this I'm scared to start trying again because I'm opening up this whole can of worms of how hard it is and what that entails and what I'm going to have to do and not do, and just re-entering the world of trying to conceive. Or maybe you are past that and you're finally pregnant, but it has been a hard one couple of lines and you are really unsure of what's going to come next because you've had losses, you've had trauma, you've had a lot of things happen. Or maybe you didn't even have a loss. You do have your baby, but the birth or the postpartum was so rough that you're like, oh man, I'm going to have to do that again. And now here we are. So that's what this episode's going to be about today. We're calling it Doing It Scared.
I think there's something like a word that was in there, but feels like something in and of itself to kind of be afraid of is like, can I even still have hope?
Afraid to hope again.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to open myself up to, I was on with a client the other day and I said something like, well, when you're pregnant, and she's like, oh, that sounds so hopeful. And I thought, you've been disappointed so much that you don't even, like, you're doing all the things, yet you don't even think it's going to work for you. You're like,
you don't even want to hope. Yeah.
You don't. Yeah. It's like, because you don't want to be let down again. Because if you hope, then you're expectant that something's going to happen and you don't want to be let down again.
Yeah. And we're in a world right now where, like, you're never allowed to be wrong. You're never allowed to change your mind about anything. I've seen people, Caitlin and I use Instagram a lot, like for our businesses, as you know. That's probably how you found this podcast, right? But, and people that maybe were of one political persuasion or another, or had this opinion about an issue or that opinion about an issue, and then learn more and change what they think. Maybe they have a different experience or meet somebody or see something or whatever. And they're like, oh my gosh, I really thought voting for this and that thing back in the day was the way to go. And now I've seen how that plays out and I regret this. You'd think the other side would be like, well, we're happy to have another warrior fighting with us. They're like, F you for ever thinking anything other than what we say was right from the start. Or like, it is just so, if you're ever, God help you, if you're ever wrong or ever change your mind, and it makes it to where like, I don't know, like trying to conceive and then not having a baby immediately, it almost feels like, oh, I was wrong or something. I know it's not that, like, but it sort of feels like that, I think. Like, you're scared to be wrong. And maybe that was you. I do see some gals like that in my practice that were like, kids, never. I'm going to go to Ibiza twice a year. I'm going to be like the drunk aunt who's just like so glamorous. And then, they hit 39 years old and they're like, whoa, living like a 19-year-old isn't that fun anymore. Oh, what I do with my life. What did I do? I got to have a baby right now. This, oh no. And so maybe some of you sort of resonate with that too, that like you have sort of a sobering moment in your life that shows you that what you were up to isn't what you want to keep being up to. And now you got to make some changes. And that can feel really scary too, especially if you were the one out there being like, ugh, kids, never. And now if that was you, it's one thing if you're like, surprise, I'm pregnant. Looks like my
and
never is going to be. It's going to be my always. But now if you're like, actually, I'm desperate to have a baby and I'm going to like do a bunch of treatments and see a bunch of people, it's almost like eating crow too big. You're eating a slice of humble pie you can't stomach. And I know that's not all of you. Most of you ladies here probably always dreamed of being a mom. But some of you, I mean, you're welcome here, even if this wasn't your dream, it just recently became your dream. But that's what this is about today, is about, are you scared of people's opinions? Are you scared of the outcome? Are you scared of failure? Are you scared of letdown? Are you scared? Like, I see this too. Another, maybe uncommon gal who's listening to this, maybe you have 4 healthy babies at home, and you want a 5th. And, Felicia, who we've had on a couple times, 3 beautiful children to keep in her home, yet infertility coming for the 4th. So many people in this world would say boo to her lifestyle, whether it's some people saying, how dare you have 4 kids in this, world at this time.
Or
You're
overpopulation.
single-handedly ruining our planet with your quest for 1 baby. And then, or the other way around, where it's, you got to be thankful for what you have. I wish I could have 3 kids. You don't belong
I wish
here
I could
because
have
you
even
already.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting, that thought, because once again, like, you really are pinned up against being right or wrong in someone else's eyes. And I guess that's something that I would want to clarify for you, that, you and your spouse, you and your partner, the path that you take is yours to choose. And at the end of the day, you guys are responsible to each other, and in my opinion, to God, for the choices that you make and the things that you pursue and what you call important and what you fight for in your life and what you let become idols or distractions or comforts. And there is a very defining moment, I think, for all of us when we get to the point where our own opinion and our own pursuits is enough, and we don't need it to be applauded in the court of public opinion.
Doesn't mean it's still not painful when you are criticized.
No,
I get that. I get criticized in my situation as well, going for this 3rd kid, and we're just bitter people being like, must be nice to get pregnant so easily, and I'm like,
because they don't know the whole story.
This is easy by you. Okay, wow.
Yeah,
they don't know the whole story.
They don't know the whole story. Or I had a client this week who is Catholic and has done nothing other than interview fertility clinics and look to see what might be wrong in her situation, and already has lost a dear friend over her choices because what she's pursuing is not coherent with their faith practice. And so the stakes can be high.
Yeah.
But, and I would argue that my defining moment where I stopped really caring what other people thought about my choices actually came with parenthood. And so, like, the cart came before the horse. Like, and it wasn't really my fertility journey that brought that up for me. It was like, it was easier to say no to things or not care what someone thought, because the thing that was important to me was being a wife and a mother that, in the ways that were valuable and I was proud of. But different things bring that up for different people. But I think reframing it and slowing down and going, is this about this so-and-so friend? Or is this about me and my partner making decisions together and what we're going to do?
Yes, this is, you get one life, my girl, my guy. Maybe a guy's listening to this. Wouldn't that be something?
Sophia and I are so proud to be sponsored by TempDrop. TempDrop is a fertility sensor that you wear on your arm while you sleep, and it has a companion app on your smartphone that you can sync those temperatures with each day. That way you can track your cycle and know your own body while you're tracking your fertility trying to conceive. This is an incredible tool. It's one of the first things I like to recommend to new clients. And if you're listening to this podcast and trying to conceive, consider yourself one and head over to tempdrop.com. One of the reasons why I love this brand and this company so much is how value-driven they are. It was born out of a husband and wife trying to conceive and trying to figure out basal body temping and making it easier, and in alignment with that value of making this information more accessible, they have just decided to lower their price. And in a landscape where everything is getting more expensive, I love that this company is making a bold move to make this product and this technology more accessible to women. So the new base price of this model is $189. This is incredible. You can even use our code FFF10 to get 10% off this new lower price. So head to our show notes or to tempdrop.com, grab yourself your fertility monitor, choose the size that you need, throw that code into the checkout area, and get tracking your basal body temperature today. We are taking a break from the episode, and I want to chat with you a little bit about Fertility Cloud. If you've been told you need help ovulating, or you have PCOS and you're trying to figure out your next fertility step, I want to tell you about Fertility Cloud. They make fertility care simple, transparent, and affordable, especially when it comes to ovulation stimulation and ovulation induction treatments. Instead of waiting for months to see a fertility specialist or getting hit with surprise bills, Fertility Cloud lists every price clearly right on their website. You'll see exactly what you're getting into and exactly what it costs. No hidden clinic fees, no surprise invoices later. For my PCOS clients, this is huge. Their ovulation stimulation program can help jumpstart ovulation safely at home with physician guidance and medications delivered directly to you. You can do it all virtually, no driving to clinics or sitting in waiting rooms, and you can often even get appointments same day. If you're wondering, how do we do ultrasounds or what about lab draws? Don't worry, their concierge service helps determine where you can do that locally to you and coordinates with you on your behalf. It's just amazing. And here's the best part. If you're ready to take that next step, you can click the link in our show notes and get $50 off your first appointment. That means you get right in front of a fertility specialist for $115. That first visit gets you matched with a fertility doctor who actually understands your needs, and you'll walk away with a clear plan for your next cycle. So head to the link in our show notes, book your appointment, save $50 on your first Fertility Cloud visit, because fertility care should be transparent, affordable, and built for you.
You get one life. What do you want it to be? How do you want this to go? Because nobody can decide that but you. And do you want to, this was really the driving factor with my husband and I going for this third kid. For those of you that don't know the backstory, I'll give you like the little elevator pitch. When we got married, we decided we wanted kids. There were absolutely some barriers to becoming pregnant the first time. Took us well over a year to get there. Got pregnant, had a healthy baby in spite of issues and experts telling us this, that, and the other thing. Then with our second kid, it was actually a surprise. We were open to another pregnancy. We knew we wanted more children, but I wasn't necessarily ready physically, emotionally, and then got pregnant again. And that was such a surprise. So had that surprise. Then when that baby was like 2 and some change, we decided we wanted to try again. At this point, I'd been diagnosed with endometriosis and had surgery and all these things. And my surgeon was kind of like, my dear, you are in your late 30s. So if you want to have another baby, don't let any grass grow. So we decided we would give it a go. Got pregnant. It was ectopic, had an emergency surgery, lost a tube, almost lost my life. And then we had to come to a decision after that. Are we going to try for this again? Are we just going to have our 2 kids and say this is our life? Or are we going to try again? And after prayer and discussion, and really that loss prompted us to be like, oh, we want another baby. We do want another baby. But what were we going to do to get there? We decided that we wanted to be open to another life. We weren't going to do big medical things to get there. So we weren't going to, when you have a health issue, you address it kind of thing. We weren't going to like say no to doctors forever for everything, but we weren't going to seek fertility specific assistance. We were going to treat problems that we know were there. Like, I know I have endometriosis. I know I have a fibroid. I know I have luteal phase defect. I know I have all these things. And so I was using like supplemental progesterone and tranexamic acid to prevent anemia and like things like that. But that's just like general health when you have these conditions. So we weren't like not going to use anything related to my gynecological health, but we weren't going to, that's what we decided, is like, we just didn't want to do much beyond that. We weren't going to seek out IUI and stimulated cycles and Clomid and ovulation induction and things like that. In order to have another baby, we were just going to live our lives, pray, have sex when we wanted to, and see what happens. And we got pregnant again by the grace of God, a true and honest miracle in this day and age. So we just decided we were going to give it a go. I got pregnant again rather quickly too, which was like such a huge surprise, such a huge blessing. And now here I am, literally doing it scared, getting pregnant, trying again and getting pregnant after a traumatic loss. And after all those things, if you want to hear the full stories, we have multiple episodes with all this stuff on there. I usually posted, Sophia's journey or whatever, if you want to hear more about it. But yeah, and people ask me all the time, how did you get up the nerve to try again after that loss? Or how are you dealing with the anxiety and the fear of loss now that you're pregnant? And so that is really the heart of and soul of what this episode is going to be about. Mm-hmm. So whether it's fear to try at all, because that's another thing too. Like if you try something and it doesn't work out, there's like such a fear about that. Even if you've never tried, even if you're like, oh, it's so weird because I've seen gals that I know have been trying to conceive. But then when they post their pregnancy announcement on social media, they're like, oops, we did it again. Baby coming September 2026. And I'm like, why are you framing this as an oops to the world? Mm-hmm. That seems so weird. TTC nutritionist right here who's like shouting from the rooftops that everybody should be trying. It seems weird for someone who has been trying, and I know they've been trying, to then say like, oops. But something about that feels safer to be like, oh, whoops, pregnant, versus I'm trying and it's not going well, or we've tried and it didn't work out. Because you almost feel like you're that kid again, standing on the high dive, like trying to work up the nerve to like do your flip. But, if you get it wrong, people are going to laugh at you, or they're going to think you're stupid because you belly flopped, or like whatever. It feels somehow public. A public failure is what trying, if you're going to actually put effort into something, if it doesn't go well, people can see that. And that can be really scary for a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm. It can be. And I have walked behind the scenes with you through a lot of this. And, Sophia is like just one of the most brave people I feel like I've ever known. So in one sense, she matches her husband.
Yeah, that's the bravest guy I've known. Bravest guy, not girl.
But you come off as so confident. You come off as so, I don't know, like what could really hold Sophia down? She's funny, she's smart, she's got all the things, right? But you have really, there were real moments of doubt and questioning and concerns and what do I do? And is this right? And from your husband too, like he watched you almost die. I'll never forget the conversation I had with him the night that he called to be like, and she's okay. She's out of surgery. He called to let me know. And that was a hard thing for him to go through, to then walk straight back into it. Trusting.
It's so true. I don't even think about that for him. Because he was the one that was a little like, are we going to try for a third?
Yeah, because you knew you wanted a third. But you have to know you want a third together, right? Like you have to know we're in this together.
Yeah. Yes, and he is so responsible, and he is never going to, I consider him to
put you in danger.
he is never going to knowingly say yes to anything that he's not super sure that he can follow through with and achieve, or that he can't, at least that he doesn't have it within him to put the right effort towards it. Like he's really very careful about what he says yes to and what he commits to, because his word is his bond. He is fiercely loyal, and he is an extremely hard worker. And so at first I was like, when I married him, I was like, what is your deal? Because I couldn't get him to commit. I'd be like, oh, they've got a, noodle company in that old bank building there. They turned into a restaurant. We should go there. And I'd be like, let's go there sometime. And he wouldn't say yes to that. He'd be like, hesitant.
That's an idea.
Because to him, if he says, yes, we're going to go to this noodle restaurant, he has now committed himself to going to this noodle restaurant. Whereas for me, I'm just like, there's a thought, a dream, something we could maybe do someday. This isn't like a bonded handshake agreement. Like, you will take me to eat these noodles. But to him, it feels like that. And so to try for another baby, and just in the framework of our marriage, like the way that we lined things up, like when it comes to financially providing, that weight does not fall on my shoulders. I work, I contribute, absolutely. But we are not, if my paycheck went away, we would be all right. We have structured our lives in the way that he is truly the quote sole provider. And I provide the frosting on the cake. He provided the whole cake. I'm the reason we can get an annual zoo pass. He's the reason we pay our mortgage, so that responsibility to him is also like, he is truly taking on not just the financial weight of another child, but the protection, the provision, the education, the teaching, the discipline, every need of this child that's could potentially be, he is making an agreement with me that he will stand up and do it, even if it costs him his very life, even if it kills him. He's going to give this baby the very best. And so, yeah, he doesn't see it as like, yeah, why not? Some people are like, oh, men are always so willing to have more kids because they don't have as much skin in the game. It's so easy for them. It isn't like that over here. He really takes this so extremely seriously, and isn't just like, let's have as many as the good Lord gives us.
I'd also say there is, there's excitement in there, but there's also the true and honest feelings of anxiety or fear around, what if we lose another baby? Or once we are pregnant, I mean, I've heard you say more than either of your other pregnancies that you are really afraid of childbirth.
Oh my God, so bad. I was just sending somebody, there's these Christian midwives on Instagram that posted these prayers for labor today that Lord, not my will, but yours. I praying against the idolatry of self that can come. This is my birth plan. This is what I want. And I'm going to do these things, and that the Lord would get the glory, and that would be it would be his way. Anyway, so they were like, how can we be praying for you? Send us a message. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm on that. So I was messaging them I'm so scared of this birth. Oh, you guys, birth. Ugh. It's so hard, and I don't want to. And in my mind, I think the hardest part for me, I'm trying to unpack this, right? Why is this so scary to me? And I think this is something that you probably need to do too. Why is trying again so scary to me? Why is the fact that I'm pregnant again? Why am I suddenly flooded with fear? What is going on here? What is it that I'm actually scared of? Is it that I'm scared of the sleepless nights postpartum? Is it that I'm scared of the pain of labor? Is it that I'm scared of the loss, that I'll die? Whatever, you kind of have to nail down what is it specifically that's freaking me out so much so that I can maybe address it. And what freaks me out so much is no matter what we do to address it, you still have to do it.
And there's no way but through.
There's no way out but through. And in my mind, I've been going through all the possible ways to birth a baby. You know, you can stay home and do it unmedicated. Everyone has that option. Might not be the wisest option for you, but you have it, that option. Do you want to go to a hospital? Maybe not everyone has that option, but I would say most. Do I want to use drugs? Whether that be like inducing my labor or augmenting my labor or pain medication for the sensations of labor. Like, what do I want to do there? Or do I just want to skip all of that and schedule surgery? That's also an option. You can do that too. And therein is my mind ping-ponging back and forth between all of this all the time. And I have, in the past week, had 2 friends have babies. One of them, went with the epidural for pain, and it ended in a traumatic, horrible C-section because her baby couldn't engage properly and got stuck. They tried to tell her, your pelvis is too small for her 6.5-pound baby. A normal sized lady. Get away from me. You guys are quacks. That's what happened here. Anyway, that happened. Emergency C-section. They accidentally cut her bladder. And then when they sewed it back up, they accidentally sewed it to her uterus. And so then they had to unstitch it all. And so.
Oh my gosh.
So there's that. And then another friend of mine chose a scheduled C-section. And while that sort of went off without a hitch as far as C-sections go, her recovery from said C-section was rough. The anesthesia messed her up so bad she couldn't even move her arms to hold her own baby for 2 days after he was born, and just was in a constant vomiting cycle. Anytime she even moved, it would make her barf because of the reaction to the anesthesia. And this is someone who's had anesthesia many times and done medicated birth and all these things. This one really wrecked her. So it's got me being okay, you want to schedule the C-section just because you don't want to do natural birth again.
Yeah, it's not a guaranteed easy button.
It's not the easy button you think it is. I'm not saying it's not a good thing for anyone to ever do, but it isn't the easy button you think it's going to be. You want to just go to the hospital and get the epidural so you don't have to feel anything. Looks that's not quite an easy button either.
Right. You may end up somewhere you didn't want to be because what you're not hearing is how it increases the chances of C-section or vacuum-assisted birth or ...
Yeah, or darker, harder, sadder consequences even than that I've seen unfold. And so from where I'm standing, now I'm going to say this because I have a microphone and you don't. So you're going to hear what I have to say, listener. This is not a dig about you. This is a statement about me. So don't extrapolate this to mean I think something about you. But I can't, in good conscience, choose something with known risk of death to me and the baby simply because it is more comfortable. I can't bring myself to that. I just can't do it. Maybe you can. Maybe you've done it in the past and it's been great. And, gotta say, 98% of women have epidurals or when they give birth, or 96% or something like that. We're not saying 96% of babies dying. Okay, we would know that this was bad medicine if that were happening. Almost always does it go fine. But that isn't always. And so medicine is great when you need it, but choosing it just as plan A is not something that I, in good conscience, can bring myself to do. I've seen too much. I was a NICU dietitian for a little while there, and I've seen too much. I can't choose that in good conscience. And so here I am, left with my own, here I am wrapped in my own sticky trap that I really only have the one option available to me. And that is
one way out of your foxhole.
Yeah, exactly. And that's through my foxhole. And so I'm going to have to push this baby out the old-fashioned way.
We're going to take a break from this episode to hear about one of our sponsors. You've probably heard me say this before, but preparing your body for pregnancy is not just about you. It's about both of you. Fertility is truly a team effort, and that's why I love the Fullwell Fertility Trio for Two. Fullwell was founded by a fellow registered dietitian and fertility expert, Ayla Barmer, and this bundle was designed to support both partners in the months leading up to conception. It combines their top-rated prenatal vitamin, omega-3 fish oil, and a fertility booster supplement that covers things like CoQ10, N-acetylcysteine, alpha-lipoic acid, and organic ashwagandha root extract. The nutrients here support overall egg quality, sperm health, fertility, and even your stress resilience. If your partner's semen analysis looks normal, or if it's suboptimal and we need to improve things, nutrition plays a key role for things like sperm motility, count, and DNA quality. For women, these same nutrients help with ovulation, egg development, and healthy hormone balance, not to mention mitochondrial support, which is a huge piece of how your gametes mature and get ready to be that queen egg or that king sperm that make it to combining to form an embryo. These things are foundational for a strong, healthy pregnancy. I personally love that Fullwell's formulas are third-party tested, they're evidence-based, and made with doses that actually match what the research shows we need. No fluff, no underdosing. So if you're planning to start trying this winter or sometime in 2026, or you've been trying to conceive for a while, it's time to think about starting to nourish your bodies for what's ahead, or take a step up from your current protocol to one that is high quality. Head to fullwellfertility.com and use the code FFF20 for 20% off your order. That's FFF20 at checkout. I'll drop the link in the show notes for this specific fertility trio bundle and for Fullwell, along with this code FFF20. Give yourself and your future family the best foundation with Fullwell's fertility trio for two.
As much as I'd like something to be different, it won't be. It'll be me pushing out a baby. And within that, that's really the fear, is that this will not be different because it can't be different because I'm still me. This is still my body. It's still a skull coming through a little vagina hole. And there's no way that that can be anything other than torture. And that is the piece that me personally, I have to bring to the foot of the cross, that I have to bring to the Lord. And I have to trust that God can do something new for me. Mm-hmm. And that is what I want you to hear this as well. This cycle that you're about to ovulate, that is a different egg than has ever been ovulated before. The sperm your husband is making to come meet that egg, those are new. Okay, maybe they aren't if you're like the people that are getting pregnant with like frozen sperm or something like that. Those aren't new, but they are different than any sperm that you have tried to use before. And because of that, you have to at least admit it's possible that this will be a different experience. Mm-hmm. It's possible that this can be something new. It's possible that God is doing a new thing within you. And that is what God has spoken to me again and again and again in this trying to conceive season, in this pregnancy, in preparation for this birth, is that He is doing something new. This is a different baby. So I have every reason to hope that something can be different.
Mm-hmm. Like a longer cord, like more ripe cervix. Like there's so many ways things could
like
be different
not
going into this.
Deep infiltrating endometriosis, sticking my colon to my uterus. Mm. You know, that was happening in my last births. I didn't know that I had endometriosis. And so there I was laboring with endometriosis. So it's possible that some of the pain I was feeling in labor was due to the disease, and that I can hope that that particular pain, now that I've had that diseased tissue excised, won't hurt the same way. There's a tangible fact I can hold on to.
You're also different. You're different. So
Am I?
you are. You
I feel the same. I still feel like a little kid who's it's the trapped nature of it, truly, like the no way out. Like, this is the only way. Like, you're probably feeling this too, listener. Like, the only way for you to have a biological child of your own is to try again.
is to keep
That's
fighting.
it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way. You could adopt an embryo, absolutely. And that's beautiful and important. And you know what? Some of you should. If you're listening to this, there's people listening to this for sure that I know are called to that. And so, rock on, sister. You could be called to like a total third-party adoption. That's also beautiful and important. And none of those things involve, you trying to conceive again, really. But if you're not doing those two things, the only way you're going to get there is by opening yourself up to this again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I call it doing it scared, because I don't have a big answer for you. I'm not like, oh, here's the Bible verse that cured me. Or like, I went to this thing and like this prophetess laid hands upon me and my fear was relieved. No, I'm scared. Like, trying to conceive again, approaching that was big. But at the end of the day, when I sat down and looked at my life, because I truly almost died with my last pregnancy. I was close to death. Truthfully, if I would have waited a few more hours, that'd have been it for me. Curtains for Sophia. But I didn't, and I lived. And so when you open yourself up to another pregnancy, those thoughts absolutely occur. And what am I going to do about it? When I sat down and looked at my life, and I imagine that at some point we all are going to stand in front of the throne of our Lord and Savior. And I get emotional thinking about this because do you think he wanted to do what he had to do to get us here? Yeah. He didn't want that. God didn't want his son to die a torturous death, even though he knew he was going to raise him. Do you think that he wanted that? That wasn't plan A. Do you know how long he waited for Jesus to be ready to be born and grow and die? Like, dude, you think you're waiting a long time for your kid? Look what God waited for. And then when it was time for Jesus to come and die on the cross, he had seen people be crucified. He had seen that death. And it's a bad way to go. That's death from dehydration and exposure. It's not,
in pain.
In pain. It's not
excruciating pain.
It's not a quick pill. It's not a shot between the eyes, Maybe that sounds gruesome, but it's quick. And that's not what he signed up for. And in the garden, he came to his knees and he said, if there's any other way, and there wasn't. And so he said, not my will, but yours. And I think about that so much with this, like, maybe it will kill me. I don't know. But at the end of our days, which will come for all of us, there's a way we all have to go. And, my husband, Mr. War Hero, he always thought he was going to die in a hail gunfire, rescuing a hostage, or doing some other intense national need, protecting our nation in some way. And he squared with that and was like, all right, if I sign up for this and I do this job, it's maybe not likely that I'll die, but here, we're going to look at some pictures here. I would, at least 3 of the guys in these pictures behind me died in the line of duty. And there's not that many people in this picture. It could come for him. And he squared with that and said, I want to live. I don't hope I die this way. He's not like a Lieutenant Dan that's like, Everyone in my family always dies in war. I have to also. He wants to live, but there's a good chance he won't. And he said, all right, when our nation calls and has a need, I am the exceptional man that will step up and do it. And I sort of feel like that, at the end of my days, if there's a way I have to die, if it's bringing another life, another bearer of God's image, another child into the kingdom, what a way to go. I don't want to die this way. I hope I don't. I want to live. I want to parent my children. Whatever, but like, maybe for you don't feel like death is really on the table. You just feel like it's heartbreak and disappointment and sorrow. Dude, that's going to happen to you anyway.
Right there, I think it just shows like, it might not be death that someone's afraid of, but just an emptiness of their womb, an emptiness in their home, and like a legitimate empty.
Oh, yeah.
Where they want things to be full. And it might feel the same type of despair, might feel like that. But I think in something that you're bringing up, and if we're leaning into kind of the faith side of this, is every pain and fear and heartache that is incumbent upon a human life is something that in some way Jesus had to have experienced. Maybe he wasn't trying to conceive, but he had pain that was like that. And he is a faithful and just high priest. He is an advocate. He can faithfully serve as someone that can comfort us in pain and sorrow. And he can show the way. He does actively. And when you follow someone so brave into battle, their bravery becomes contagious upon you.
It does. It does. Just like when Aragorn is marching everyone to the Black Gate and he tells us. No, but he really tells them, you can turn back. You can go back. We will have jobs for you, places for you. You will have a seat of honor. We will not look at you as deserters, failures, or cowards. But from this, the next step we take forward, you're doing it with a full heart and full choice that this is what you want and that you're going to stand with us to the end. And he gives them that choice. And that is, do you think I'm such a loser for talking about Lord of the Rings all the time?
Funny. It's so funny. You always have a reference for it.
It's just how my mind works, guys. But, Jesus had the choice. God has the choice, or God gives you the choice. He is not shackling you and telling you, you have to try to conceive or you will not make it into the kingdom. Actually, maybe some denominations believe that, but I don't believe that. And you are not forced to do this. This is your choice to try. You get to decide to do this or not. And I got to decide to do this or not. And really, it reminds me so much of when I was single, it was so painful for so long that I was like, I don't want to keep hoping that someone's going to pick me and marry me and that I'll get to have a husband and children. I don't want to keep doing this. I want to give up. That way, at least I have some agency, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen people do this in the fertility world. They're like, I can't hope anymore. Please go get a vasectomy. I don't want to hope anymore. Mm-hmm. And I got to that point quite a bit. And just like now, I felt similarly then. It was like, what is God calling you to? I mean, truthfully, if you really look at your life, are you called to motherhood? Are you doing this because you think it's something you're going to regret if you don't do? Are you doing this because having a kid is like having a Fendi bag, having a Birkin bag, and you get to fit in with the other people with the Birkin bags, and you just want to do this as a status thing or just to say you did? Or do you truly believe you are called to this? Do you believe pursuit of this at its very least, is godly, is just, is right. When you stand at the foot of God's throne, when we are all called to stand before him, are you going to say, I just couldn't do it. It was hard. I tried for a while and you didn't answer my prayer. And so I didn't want to try anymore. Or are you going to say, I fought with my last breath to the very end. I saw where you were leading me, Lord, and I followed you. And I said, even if it costs me my life, I will follow you. And I will stand with you to the end of my days because I love you and you are good. And I knew I would meet you like this. And I wanted to be able to meet you and tell you I love you and that it was worth it because you're worth it. What do you want to be able to say? What do you want to be able to do when you give an account for your days? Because it maybe isn't up to you if you live or die or have a baby or don't or have 5 babies or none or whatever. God doesn't tell us that everything we set our hand to will prosper, that everyone you speak the name of Jesus to will repent and be saved. Like, this is not a promise. He doesn't say that. He tells you, go speak the name of Jesus. The results are up to him. And what do you want it to be? For me, I felt called, and that at the end of my days, I really wouldn't be able to look my Savior full in his face and say, I followed you, if I didn't at least become open to having this other baby. I just knew it. I knew it in my bones. I knew it in my spirit. And as scary as it is, I said, all right, be it unto me. Like Mary. I didn't know that I would get pregnant again. I didn't have that guarantee. I didn't have the guarantee that the pregnancy would last this long or land in a good place or kill me or not or whatever. And I don't know what this birth is going to be. But I know that the other options, the narcotics, the surgery, I know that I can't plan those and choose those as my plan A and know that I gave it my all. I have no idea how this birth is going to go, and maybe I will end up doing those things, but I just can't plan that that's the plan A.
I think, and so a couple things that are really practical when you're faced with a situation like this. I would argue the first is to get prayerful and do that with your spouse so that you're like linked arm in arm in that sense. But what voices you listen to, what media you consume, what dark Google holes you go down on, like what you're feeding your mind and the people you choose to be around are going to really impact how you feel. You ought to be around people that are like speaking life into you and encouraging you and maybe even challenging you in good ways. I would not fill my head with voices that make the fear even bigger. Because at the end of the day, in this scenario, when you're pregnant, like there's no way but through. So
it's true. And there's a difference between that and being willfully ignorant. I will throw my sister under the bus right here. When I was having this ectopic pregnancy, I was like, dude, something's weird about the timing here. Something's up. Something's not right. And she told me, stop analyzing God's miracle in your life. Don't stop with, going to appointments and all the stuff. God has given you a baby. That's the end of it. Stop trying to figure it out. And that was terrible advice. If I would have done that, I would have just laid in my bed and died.
Thank God you had a different sister in your ear.
I know. And dude, she's, God bless her, she just doesn't know everything, and nor do I. And she knows me so well and knows I spiral about like all kinds of things all the time. And she's seen me get all worked up about nothing about 1,000,000 times. And so like,
right,
who
but
could
this
blame
is
her
the
for
one
saying
time,
that?
Yeah, but this is the one time not to do that. But honestly, that's my very point is the voices around you impact you and matter. And sometimes it's like you hear that voice and you're like, nope, not today. you're wrong. And that, like, sometimes that friend says those things to challenge you to see how you really feel about something. Or
Yeah, maybe God just doesn't want you to be a mom. I am calling horse SHIT on that. That is not the reason you're struggling to conceive at all. At all. If you were not called to be a mom, he would have told you that. And
But I think too, I had a conversation with somebody earlier today who has PCOS and has a lot of agency in how her body performs, because she can change the way she eats and she can change the way she moves and she can get off a graveyard shift. It may not be easy.
God bless her.
But she could, right? Like, there are things that you can do, though they may feel really hard. Look at the catalog of your life. This individual overcame a lot of things in her childhood, in her growing up, in the type of work she has done. For HIPAA reasons, I'm not going to say anything else. But she has a powerful past to look on. It's like sometimes you need to encourage yourself and say, I know, so if you're scared of birth, but you've been through 2 really hard births and you met it face to face. Did it take you to the brink? Yes, but you made it through, and you will this time. You will this time. And so sometimes I think the courage can also come from looking back and saying, okay, I did work full time and make it through school while I was doing 20 credits and 3 lab classes. And I did support my family when they were going through bankruptcy, or I did, like, there are things you can call back in your past and go, I did that. And not in a haughty way, but in a way that shows you have grit and you will make it through again. Will it be painful? Will it not work at all? I don't know what the color along the path is going to look like, but I do know the individual that's walking it, and you're stronger than you think you are. And you need to hear that. And you need people around you to hear that. And you need to hear that you're not doing it alone. And
that just because it's hard, it doesn't mean it's wrong and that it isn't God's way. I know there are some denominations out there that want to make it sound like, Mary birthed Jesus as a prism of light and there was no pain or blood or sensation at all, that Jesus died on the cross without pain or blood or anything like that. It was just all this miraculous, transcendent thing. But I don't believe that. I believe in the humanity of these people, as well as the, spiritual sanctity of Jesus, but that he was a human man with a human body and human feelings. And that's why he can be our great high priest who knows our weaknesses and sympathizes with them because he has felt them. And it is not ungodly or sinful or a sign that you have taken the wrong turn or that something is wrong because it's hard and painful. That is something I have to remember in birth. It's like getting all scared because this hurts. It must mean there's, some fears I haven't released or like a problem within my body. And that's something I reach out about like constantly in labor, and that I need a lot of reassurance about is like, this is normal. This is good. The fact that it hurts doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean anything about this baby. It's birth. It's hard work and it hurts. Okay. I'm sorry. But don't ascribe a bunch of meaning to it that like this means something's wrong. In both births, I've cried out to go to the hospital and have a C-section and all these things. And my birth team was like, that's an option and we will not stop you from doing that. But do you want to hear what the midwives think? You're eating, you're drinking, you're peeing, your heart rate is good, your blood pressure is good, baby's heart rate is good, you're progressing. It's just birth, dear. There's nothing that I can see as the person who's attended 850 births that shows me that anything here is wrong or bad. It's just hard. And I need that like constant reassurance because I get all freaked out that because it's hard, it means something. And I don't want you to feel that. Like, just because it's hard, because you didn't get pregnant the first try, because you've had a loss, because you have this diagnosis, because it doesn't mean something about you. It doesn't mean something about this journey. It doesn't mean you weren't meant to be a mother, or there's some sort of fear you haven't released, or like an unforgiveness you're holding on to, or a curse spoken upon you generations ago, or whatever. I mean, those things can be true about you. I'm not saying nobody's ever had a curse and nobody's ever had an unforgiven grudge, and it will heal you and benefit you to confront those things with the name of Jesus, regardless of whether you want to have a baby. But you're not wrong or bad, or it's not something inherently like spiritual effed up about you. It's not a message from the Lord that you're not meant for this, that, or the other thing, because it's hard, because it's scary, because it's painful.
Mm-hmm.
That's ascribing meaning that truly isn't there. That's what I mean when I say, like, Jesus had pain when he died on the cross. Mary had birth. I mean, everyone I know, even the people that have had supposed pain-free births, it wasn't pain-free. It was maybe fear-free. And in fact, I was thinking, we always make fun of your cousin Star on here for her easy births. Her son turned 17 like 2 days ago. And I remember his birth. He was sunny side up. So he was born face to pelvic bone. And I remember her describing that as somebody jamming a rod up her spine. Like, the pain of the contraction was so much. And so, Star, we owe you an apology if you ever listen to this. You didn't all have all pain-free births. And I'm sorry we've joked that you do, because you worked really hard for that one, and that really hurt. But even the people that are supposedly having pain-free births, it's intense, and it's hard, and it's work. And
but it changes you. But
it's
it changes
productive. That's like saying I ran a pain-free marathon. Okay, whatever. That was hard. And I don't think that you didn't feel out of breath and exhausted and your legs didn't hurt. Stop it. You were just prepared and you were ready for it. And you wanted it.
It was painful to learn to run that long. I mean, there was pain somewhere in the journey, even if it wasn't in that moment. Hey friends, we're taking a break from our episode to talk about one of our sponsors, and this sponsor is the PCOS app. Did you know that I made an app all about PCOS? Well, I did, and you can find so many resources in it. We have slowly moved all the resources from my PCOS Hormone Academy course over into the PCOS app, and that talks about all things PCOS topically. Like, if you have acne, you can go look at the skin and acne modules and see, what does Western medicine offer? Why does this impact PCOS? What can we do about it? What are natural remedies? What are nutritional remedies? We talk about hair loss and hirsutism all through that lens, where we go through, what is it? Why is it impacted by PCOS? Or why do we need to pay more attention to this particular thing? And what can we do about it? And we provide a vast resource to help you both advocate for yourself at the doctor's office and treat yourself at home naturally. Now, the exciting thing that I want to share with you is, starting in January 2025, we're starting to migrate all of the content that I have published so far on fertility into this app. I used to sell a course for $700 all about how to get pregnant with PCOS, and that is all getting moved into the app between January and March. So you can take the course as if you enrolled in the whole thing for $10 per month. So head to your app store, whether you're on a Google Android device or an Apple device. If you type in PCOS app, you just look for that really pretty lavender flower, you'll find it. Download it and join us, because you're going to get weekly recipes and all the fertility-focused PCOS content that you need. It will start being uploaded under the Academy tab. So stay tuned for that, and let's get back to our episode.
Hey, it's me again, Sophia Pavia, registered dietitian nutritionist specializing in women's health, fertility, and optimal progesterone production. And I'm interrupting an episode of my own podcast to tell you about my online course called Ovulation Unlocked. So if you've been listening to our podcast episodes, you've probably heard a lot of things about basal body temperature, cervical mucus, cervical position, and tracking your fertility. Well, I have designed a 90-minute self-paced online course, which I titled Ovulation Unlocked, that puts all of that together and teaches you how to be the expert on your own fertility from home. This course is designed to put you in the driver's seat of your own fertility, not only so you can know what's going on with your body on any given day, but so that if you need medical help, you can show up to the appointment informed and ready to communicate. Too frequently, us women show up to our doctor's appointments and just say something like, I want to have a baby. And the doctor looks at you and says, good for you. Stop using birth control, start taking a prenatal, come back in a year if you're not pregnant. And that's all we get. However, Ovulation Unlocked puts you in the driver's seat, puts you in control of your fertility to where if you need help, you can show up to that appointment informed and ready to communicate your needs. So if you want to become the expert on your own body and your own fertility, head on over to my Instagram bio and tap the Ovulation Unlocked link today.
But I would say this, listener, take all of that, take it all with your partner straight to God and let him comfort your heart in the way that only he can and encourage you and give you wisdom in the way that only he can.
Do it scared. Don't let your fear hold you back from living your life, from going and getting your baby. Or even if you don't have one, from standing in front of your Lord at the end of your life and saying, I was so scared, but I kept on because I believed you had something good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he's going to be the one that's going to have to tell you why there wasn't a baby or whatever. Or maybe you turn around and there's 10 babies that you never knew that you made. Or I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to you in that moment. But I know that it's coming for you. And I know you have just this one life to live. Do you want to hit menopause and say, I wish I would have? Or do you want to hit menopause and hang your hat and say, what a ride?
That was a good run. Yeah.
Yep. I gave it my all. I truly gave it my all. And I don't have 10 kids here in my house right now, but there are rooms in the house of the Lord that I don't know about. And I trust that there's a place for me there.
A place for me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
girl.
So, girl. I'm obviously very pregnant and emotional, but I want you to be encouraged.
I'm gonna shoot off this girl with something
Caitlin's
fun for me.
Gotta go. Okay, let's hear it.
Client
Cut off my tears.
In the mail showed up for me yesterday something for this baby in your belly, and I know what color it is, and I know what I'm gonna do with it, and you don't know anything, and it's really
I know
fun.
Nothing.
You keep talking about this baby in your belly, and it's this whole episode. It's been fun to picture what that baby is.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback on that with my girl. Last night I had a dream that I was at a Blue Angels air show and that I was like so close to the jets. They were like blowing my hair back. And one of my girlfriends was there. She has 3 sons. And her and another gal I know that has 3 sons and another gal I know that has 3 daughters. They're all like, do we try again? We all want to have the girl moms want a boy, the boy moms want a girl. They want to experience. But at the end of the day, they say, truly, do we want another child? Like, let's look into that anyway. So one of my girlfriends, I dreamed that she showed up to the air show with a brand new baby girl, that she had a girl, and was just so cute, tons of hair, beautiful baby girl. And so I texted her this morning and I was like, I just woke up from a dream that you had just had a baby and it was a girl. And she's like, Sophia, I haven't told anyone, but I'm pregnant. I know. And I was like, listen, this is not a prophecy. This is just me having a dream last night and telling you about it. I have no word for the Lord from you. I had no feeling of like, oh, you have to tell her. It was just more like, here's a funny thing, Mm-hmm. And she told me she'd also had, I'm so emotional right now, that she'd also had a loss that she hadn't told really anyone about. And so she really hasn't told anyone about this baby, but she's due like mid to end September. And I was like, are you due the 21st night of September? That is crazy. Because that song, do you remember the 21st night of September?
No, but I remember September 23rd.
Why is
that day? That's
because
Fiona's
that's
birthday.
Fiona's birthday. Well, that was my girl, is that I dreamed that one of my girlfriends was...
So what does that make you think about you?
I had a dream that my baby was a girl. I've also had a dream that my baby was a boy. And so I don't know what to think. Here's what it makes me think about me, is that the Lord knows, and that it's good that I don't know. And it's good that we're ending this episode as Mr. Leaf Blower comes to my window.
Perfect timing. Get that fox out of there.
That it's good that I'm going to do the old, I call it the push and peek, where you push out your baby and then gaze upon their genitals and announce the gender. And it also makes me think I actually really want my husband to catch the baby this time. I thought I wanted to catch the baby, but I think I want him to catch the baby and then tell me if it's a boy or girl. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry just thinking about that. Because him catching our first baby was just the freaking greatest. And of all the things I am scared of, I'm at least looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Because there's a prize at the end of this race. There's
such a prize. If only that I won't be pregnant anymore. That probably feels terrible to those of you who are waiting to be pregnant. But, there's discomforts that come along with gaining 30 pounds in 20 weeks. Like, it's just part of life.
It just is. Okay, guys, we're here with you next week. Like it, love it, follow. It won't always be about pregnant people. If this is your first episode, we talk a lot about getting pregnant and not just birth and fear. So hang around if you want to hear some more nutrition advice, and we'll see you next week.
And we love you. And rate, review, subscribe, and share.